All right, 5-4 day 3, more practice with doing integrals or antideriv. So the trick to today's is going to be to rewrite before integrating. So getting it in a form that we can actually do the antiderivative. So rewrite before integrating. And for the first half, we're trying to hit that integration rule of integrating a term or a u term to a power. And remember, the rule is you always add 1 to the exponent, multiply by the reciprocal, carry along multipliers. So it's add 1 to the exponent, multiply by the reciprocal, and any multipliers carry along with the plus c. Alright, so here we go. Number 1. Find the integral of 1 over x squared dx. Okay, first rule of thumb, never. We're not going to integrate at this point with an x in. So we're going to rewrite it. When you bring it up, it just makes the exponent unhappy. So you rewrite it as x to the negative 2. And now it's integration ready. So it's add 1. So we will get, and then multiplying by the reciprocal of negative 1 is negative 1 with a plus c. And we'll float that negative to the front. Negative x to the negative 1 plus c. The author might put that back as a happy exponent since it started there, but I am fine with this. Or if we brought it back down, we would leave a negative 1 in the numerator over x to the first plus c. I would take either of those answers. Okay, number 2. Integral of 1 over x multiplied by the cube root of x. So, again, like I said, we're not integrating with x's in the denominator, so we got to get them to the top. So you either combine these down here and make a single term out of them, then bring it up, or bring them up and then make a single term. I'm going to choose to combine them in the denominator. So what I have is that's x to the first, and then a cube root, remember, is x to the 1/3. And when I'm multiplying like bases, we add exponents. So this combines and becomes x to the 4/3. So 1, that's 3/3 plus 1/3 gives us 4/3. So now, forgot my dx, I'm ready to bring that term up to the numerator. And remember, it's just make it negative. And now it's ready to go. So adding 3/3, that's going to give me x to the negative 1/3. Multiplying by the reciprocal of negative 1/3 is negative 3. And remembering my plus c. So, and if you want to write that in the front, you could. I'm just taking extra steps here for not a really good reason. And again, if you want to bring that underneath and even write it back as a cube root, let's see. So negative 3 over x to the 1/3 plus c. Again, I'm happy with this answer. I'm happy with this answer. But because it started out with a root, we would have negative 3 over the cube root of x plus c. Any one of those 3 check-marked answers are fine. They're all the same. All right, next one. We've got integral of 1 over the quantity 2x cubed dx. I would probably, because it's legal to distribute that, I would get rid of the parentheses so that you don't really see an inside anymore. So I'm going to rewrite that as 1 over. I'm going to cube both of them. 2 cubed is 8. X cubed is x cubed. Now remember, the only thing that moves here is this term with the power. The 8's got to stay down there. So we will have, I'm actually going to 3 over 8. Now this over 8, think of that as a multiplier 1/8. So I'm going to take a baby step here. 1/8 long, and we're just going to apply the rule. So we're going to keep the 1/8. -3 gives me -2. And then timesing by the reciprocal there, that's a -1/2. Plus c. Simplifying, I'll have a -1/16. -1/16 x to the -2 plus c. I'm not going to take the time to put that in the bottom. I think you got the idea on the last couple that there's other versions of this answer with positive exponents. All right, where am I at? That was 3. Here we go, 4. Integral x cubed plus 1 over x squared dx. So again, we've got that x in the denominator. We don't want it. So what we can do, 2 ways to do it. I'll do it both ways. You decide which way you like. You can distribute this underneath both of these because it's divided. We can back it up and say this is x cubed over x squared plus 1 over x squared. And then simplify each of these fractions. So we're going to bring the x squared up. Or we can just cancel 2 of them. That would be easier, I guess, and that'll become x. Bringing this one up, we'll get x to the -2. Or, other thing you can do right off this is bring this up and distribute it. When you bring it up, though, remember to make it negative. So that would mean if I kept the x cubed plus 1 in parentheses, if I bring the x squared up, that comes up as x to the -2. And now I just distribute it. And remember, you add exponents. I will be right back at x to the first plus an x to the -2. So either distribute underneath and simplify each one or bring it up and distribute. Okay, so antideriv here, remember there's an exponent of 1. So we will add 1 times by the reciprocal. Moving on to this one, we're going to add 1. That'll give us x to the -1. Multiplying by the reciprocal, which is still -1. So all that's going to do is make this a negative in the middle, or a subtraction. Okay, number 5. X plus 1 times 3x squared minus 2. Okay, this one, again, we want to have all separate terms. And we don't have that, but we can get them if we FOIL this out. So you're going to have to FOIL before you do integral. So that'll be 3x cubed. See me carry the sign along because I'm not doing the antiderivative yet. It helps you keep track of where you're at. Minus 2x, distributing the 1 plus 3x squared, minus 2. And let's see, nothing finds each other there. I'm going to double check. I can look on here. Okay, so we're ready for the power rule on each separate term. So add, keep the 3, multipliers carry, add 1, times by reciprocal. Okay, same thing here, keep the 2, add 1, it's going to go squared, times by reciprocal. Keep the 3, add 1, times by reciprocal. And the last one, adding 1 to power is going to give me 2x, and then I got the plus c. And then it's just a matter of simplifying. So 3 times is 3/4 x to the 4th. 2 times a half, it's going to give us 1, so minus x squared. That's going to be a 1x cubed minus 2x plus c. So not terrible. I'm just going to get really good at these. All right, our last easier one, but we're not going to be done. That's on the first page. Put this over here. Okay, number 6. I'll go for a new page. Okay, so we're going to find the particular equation for f of x. Remember, particular means you're going to be finding your c value, which means they have to give you a point. But take a look. Here's what we know. I know that the second derivative of x, f of x, comes out equal to 2. I know that the first derivative, when you plug in 2, you get a value of 5. So this is giving you an ordered pair on the first derivative. That ordered pair has an x value of 2 and a y value of 5. And I also know that on f, function f, when x is 2, the y value is 10. So there's an ordered pair on function f, the one we're looking for. So, seeing that they actually give me the second derivative equation, we're going to work backwards from that by taking the antiderivative, getting back to f prime of x. So we'll do that first. So, when I go backwards 1, that will give me f prime of x is equal to the antiderivative of the double prime. So that's what we know. So I know that the equation for the second derivative is just a constant 2. So now doing the antiderivative, I know that a 2 goes back to 2x. I need the plus c, and I have the general equation for the first derivative. Now we've got to figure out the c value before we move on. So what we're going to do is use this point that's on the first derivative. So when x is 2, the derivative value is 5. So we're going to put the 5 here. 2 times 2 plus c. Well, that's 4. C's got to be a 1. So now we have 2x plus 1 as our first derivative equation. So if I go backwards again, I will be at f of x. So it's just the same process. So I've got to do the antiderivative of the first derivative, 2x plus 1, and then figure out the c value here. So doing our power rule, we're going to add 1. We're going to keep the 2, add 1, times by reciprocal. Antiderivative of 1 is x, and I have a plus c. So I'm close to having my answer. So I've got the general equation here. The general equation is x squared plus c. To find the particular, we're going to use that on function when x is 2. So that's 4 and 2 is 6, so we'll subtract 6. That's 4 is the c value. So our final answer, the particular equation for f of x, is x squared plus. If you check the next two derivatives, if I go backwards now, back to derivatives, I should get those two derivatives back that I had. But I'm not going to take the time to do that. Okay, so that was a lot of practice. Ready by moving the x up and exponent rule, ready for the power rule. Now we're going to go with that other one where we have an inside and an outside. So that integration rule side next to the du or dx. So you might have to steal a part of the equation, and then remember, we throw all of this away and then do power rule here. Away, we'll add 1. Okay, let's practice. A little complicated. So number 7. We've got x squared minus 1 cubed times 2x dx. So you can see I've got an outside power and an inside function. So the rule is we have to have the derivative of the inside. So I'm going to take baby steps. I'm going to call the inside my u. It's x squared minus 1. My u prime then is 2x. That's what I need next to the dx. Well, lucky for us, they gave us exactly an extra 2x here. So I'm going to take this, slide it over next to the dx, and that's going to get thrown out with the bathwater. Throw it away. That leaves just this where I can now add 1 and times by reciprocal. I can't do this until I have the derivative of the inside next to the dx. That's what's crucial. So getting it set up, get all the puzzle pieces in their place. And then it's easy. X squared minus 1. We're going to add 1. Multiply by the reciprocal. Plus c. You can choose to keep this as an exponent. Or you can write it as a fraction. It would be x squared minus 1 to the 4th over 4 plus c. Having a 1/4 multiplier and a divide by 4 identical, again, I don't care. I'm good. Just so you know when you're looking, if you've got one answer and the answer book has something different, you're still okay. All right, let's get one that's a little more challenging. Number 8. By x cubed minus 1 squared dx. Okay, we got something just like at the beginning of this note section. We cannot leave this x down here. So first thing we have to do is bring that up. So we'll keep our x squared where it is. Bringing this term up, x cubed minus 1 is now to the negative 2. It is absolutely not legal to distribute when this is not a 1 here. You cannot do distributive property. So what we've got probably is an inside-outside, where we're going to add 1 here, but we can't do that until we have the derivative of the inside to the dx that I forgot to write down. So off to the side, help yourself out. Our inside is the x cubed minus 1. Introduce x's into the problem, but lucky for us, there's an x squared already here. So we're going to take this x squared, put it over by the dx. The other thing we're missing is the 3. I don't have another color here. So I can hit it with a 1. So I can put a 3 here by the dx as long as I put a 1/3 out in front. So I've essentially multiplied this whole thing by 1. And now it's ready to integrate. All of this gets thrown away. Remember, this is over there. We just add 1 and times by reciprocal. But this 1/3 is a multiplier that carries along. This 3 is getting thrown out with the dx. So 1/3 is staying. That's gone. X cubed minus 1. Add 1. Brings us to a negative 1. Times by reciprocal is another negative 1 plus c. So we'll have negative 1/3 x cubed minus 1 to the negative 1 plus c. So think of them as little puzzles. All right, number 9. X over 1 plus x squared cubed dx. Okay, once again, we've got to bring this up. We can't start anything with x's in the bottom. So that'll be 6x multiplied by 1 plus x squared to the negative 3. Okay, no distributing allowed when that's not a 1. So it's an inside-outside. We can't add 1 until we have the derivative of the inside next to the dx. So what we need is the u prime, and that is a 2x. Well, there's a 6x. So you've got options. You can steal just the x and bring it over, which I think I will do. I'm going to steal just this x and bring it over here. Then I think I am going to hit it with a 1. And the reason I can steal it over is because I still have a 6 times x. I haven't changed it. I've just separated what was multiplied there. I need a 2, so that means I need a 2 here, which means I need a 1/2 out in front. I'm hitting it with a 1. And now I'm ready to go. I've got 2 multipliers though that are carrying along, a 1/2 and a 6. So that's a 3 that's going to carry along. And now a power rule on that. So adding 1 would give me a negative 2. The reciprocal of negative 2 is negative 1/2 plus c. So letting the 3 find the negative 1/2, I'll have a negative 3/2. 1 plus x squared to the negative 2 plus c. Okay, I have one last problem. Number 10. Let's see. We've got 4x plus 6 divided by x squared plus 3x plus 7 cubed dx. Okay, so again, first thing is to get those x's to the top. And because the whole denominator has to get multiplied by the whole numerator, we're going to put that in parentheses up there. So the 4x plus 6 has to go in parentheses now because this second part is coming up. That'll be now to the negative 3. Okay. You see two insides, but chances are this is the one that you're inside because of the negative 3. This one's to the first power, so it's not really an inside when it's to the first power. So let's see what we need next to the dx before we can start adding 1 here. So I like to show the work off to the side. So if we let the u equal just the inside, x squared plus 3x plus 7. The u prime is 2x plus 3. So I need a 2x plus 3. I've got a 4x plus 6. Well, do you think you could basket factor out a 2 here and be legal? Well, yes, you would be. So we're going to take out a 2 from that. And that will leave, the other factor will be 2x plus 3. So now I can take that whole group of 2x plus 3 and put it over next to the dx. And now I'm ready for the power rule. So the 2 is still here as a multiplier. This is gone because it's over next to the dx. That's going to get thrown away. Remember, everything attached to the dx gets thrown away. And now we're ready for power rule here. X squared plus 3x plus 7, adding 1, I get negative 2, times the reciprocal, and just letting the 2 and the negative 1/2 find each other. Distributive property not allowed when that's not a 1. So, done.